We were informed by the institutions. We discussed forthcoming expiration of the current EFSF financial arrangement with Greece and any consequences that may come from that. We discussed among each others in a strong determination the strength and the preservation of that strength of the monetary union. Coming out of the financial crisis, a lot of measures have been taken, frameworks been put in place, institutions have been built which have strengthened our cooperation, deepened our cooperation, strengthened our monetary union. We are in a much stronger position than during and certainly before the crisis. Also, I'd like to stress the point that all of us, the euro area member states, intend to make full use of the instruments available to preserve the integrity and stability of the euro area, to complement any actions that the ECB will take, of course in full independence, in line with its mandate. We have the EFSF, the ESM remain strong instruments with our full backing, as they have always been. And we will take any necessary measures to further improve the resilience of our economies, an ongoing process as far as I'm concerned. We must stress that the expiry of the EFSF financial arrangement with Greece, without an immediate prospect of a follow-up arrangement, will require measures by the Greek authorities. The institutions stand ready to provide technical assistance there, to safeguard the stability of the Greek financial system. The Eurogroup, and that consists of 19 members, I'd like to stress, the Eurogroup will monitor very closely the economic and financial situation in Greece, stands ready to reconvene, to take appropriate actions where and when needed, in the interests of both Greece and the Eurozone as a whole. We also, and this also goes for the Commission and the other institutions, stand ready to assist and support Greece and the Greek people if and when required following the expiration of the financial arrangement with Greece. That's all I have to say. The institutions will provide any technical information you may want from them on possible measures or risks or outcomes. It's not up to me to communicate on a more technical or specific level, but I just want to communicate our political determination. So I'll take a couple of questions. The gentleman just behind you.
Yes, Georgi Gotov, Euractiv. I'm afraid that your answer may be very short, but still I'm going to ask you the question. Mr. Varoufakis mentioned the possibility of using the time available until Tuesday to improve the current proposal. He said that if it is improved, the government would campaign for a yes vote. Are you going to play that game?
Well, I've always said and will say that the door is open. It was not the institutions that walked away from the last talks last night. It was the representatives of the Greek government that walked away from those talks. It was not us that said the talks have come to an end in a negative way. It was the Greek government who have said what is on the table now deserves a no. So that's all I can say. The process hasn't ended. It'll never end probably. We will continue to work with Greece. Many things could happen. Many scenarios are conceivable. The only thing I know, and this is referring back to the Eurogroup meeting we had earlier, that if the Greek government, with support of the Parliament, would follow the path they set out last night, that the programme will expire. That's all I can say. And all other options in terms of process or what may happen the coming days are open. But this very clear stance from the Greek government must also lead to quite a clear answer from our side. And unfortunately, we couldn't avoid taking such a clear stance today. Maybe the lady here in the front.
Giovanna Pancari, Sky Italia. Did you discuss about possible contagious risk to other member states? Are you worried for it? And what kind of solution or measures do you think to adopt to avoid it? Thank you.
We didn't talk about it specifically in very general terms, and as I said, we are in a much better shape than we were some years ago. Specifically, program countries have gone through a impressive reform program and are in a much better shape and have much more stability than years ago. And also, again, in general terms, we have many more instruments now than we had in the past, and our institutions are and will be prepared to take any action if needed. We've not been more specific than that. It is not at all sure that we have to be more specific in the coming days or weeks. The gentleman right here in the red shirt.
Yes, Mr. President. Did you ban or exclude Mr. Varoufakis of the meeting he has said? Second question, you said that Eurogroup is ready to reconvene at any time. Will you call it for a new meeting? Are you expecting any movement for is a must the cancel of the referendum for that?
First of all, Minister Varoufakis left on his own account the Eurogroup meeting before it was ended. And this meeting was then asked for by a number of ministers to be able to discuss any consequences from the political position taken by the Greek government last night. The second question was whether there is already a date for a new Eurogroup. We will follow it closely from day to day and reconvene when necessary. And that can be... I have not called for a new meeting yet, but we will monitor it closely every day. And if and when necessary, we will reconvene. Last couple of questions. There's a gentleman right at the back. And then the lady right at the back, and that's the last one.
Bruno Waterfield, The Times. It's just, I'm quite... You seem to be saying that the Greeks walked out of negotiations, and the negotiations were open. There was still stuff to play for, but only on Friday and Thursday and Friday we were being told by people like yourself and a lot of people around the Eurogroup that it was the Greeks that needed to move more towards you. One minister, the German minister even, we hear, said that the proposals on the table were too generous. So the direction of travel did seem to be, it was open in the sense that the Greeks had to make more concessions, so that does sound to me awfully like a take it or leave it proposition.
You're right on the first part of your question and not on the second. Why are you right in the first part? Because as we've always said, the proposals in the end will have to add up, and that goes back to what we agreed to in February. We said, yes, fiscal targets and timelines can be adjusted if the new economic circumstances so request, and that is exactly what the institutions had put in their proposal. Fiscal targets have been adjusted, timelines have been lengthened. Second, in terms of what kind of measures are needed to get Greece back on track, financially, economically, financial stability, those kind of measures can be readjusted and have been readjusted. If you would like to compare the old MOU with the last proposals that was sent for information purposes to the Eurogroup, you will see that they're very different documents. And many of the new proposals have come from the Greek government. But the bottom line is, and will have to be, that it adds up, that it brings Greece back on track. And we've never pretended that that will be easy. We have never promised that that will be an easy way to go. It's going to be hard, it's going to be tough. But we have to be honest, if we put together a package which in the end will just remain, lead to a Greek economy remaining in the slumps, we're not helping anyone. We're just making sure that programs will go on forever, which is the last thing the Greek government and the Greek people want. That was our joint task, to find a way out to make sure that Greece becomes financially independent. So that is indeed the kind of talks that we had. We had to make sure that in the end it's a credible package, both for the future of Greece and for the Eurozone as a whole. I promised the last question to the lady at the back.
Merci beaucoup. Ça sera en français, excusez-moi. C'est Griselda Pastor de la radio espagnole SIR. Désolée, oui. Merci. Je voudrais savoir, pendant des semaines, au nom de l'Eurogroupe, vous avez prôné la beauté des mesures que les institutions posaient sur la table. pourquoi ne pas donner une prolongation aux autorités grecques et attendre l'opinion des citoyens dans ce référendum?
First of all, the decision to stop the talks was once again not done by us but by the Greeks. Secondly, it was done very untimely because there are different parts in the talks. First of all, with the institutions, the Greek government have talked about the set of measures that were required. And you can have different opinions, but in the end, the only thing that matters to the Eurogroup is whether it adds up. Once you have an agreement on that package, you then talk to the Eurogroup about what does this mean for the future. What does this mean for debt sustainability? How will we deal with that in the future? Is there a chance and under what conditions that the Eurogroup may consider continuing support Greece? All of those discussions in the Eurogroup hadn't actually taken place because the first part wasn't completed. So I repeat, the talks had not been finished. The decision to say this is it, it's not good enough, was untimely. Therefore the question is, why should we allow more time? If the Greek government had said, well, we find this very difficult, but we will take it to a referendum and then wait the outcome. Had done that a lot earlier, it would have been easier. If they had proposed to put it with a positive advice to the electorate, it might have been easier. It might have been easier. But they broke off the talks while they were still going on, while there was still time, and then decided to go with a negative advice to their electorate. The only caveat I see is that the Greek Parliament still has to take a wise position on that, and I hope that may lead to a different political situation. But we will have to see. I thank you very much.